Hello, everyone. My name is Porfirio Sosa Torres. I'm the gallery owner of Carapan, a Mexican folk art gallery located in Monterrey, Mexico, founded in 1950. Since then, our aim has been to find and promote the most refined and significant pieces of Mexican folk art. And I'm very happy because there is a wonderful Mexican folk art collection at the Art Museum of Southeast Texas, located in Beaumont, Texas. This collection was created by John Gaston Fairey. John was a Texas A&M University Regents professor and a very renowned gardener, founder of the John Fairey Garden in Hempstead, Texas. John was a very dear friend of us. He often traveled to Mexico to collect plants for his garden, and on his way to the mountains, he always visited our gallery, Carapan. My father, Porfirio Sosa Jimenez, shared with him his love to Mexican folk art, and assessed by him, John acquired some of the best pieces we had on display. This was since the 1980s. In time, my father and John developed a friendship, and his acquisitions became a collection. Art played a major role in John's life, and he decided to donate his collection of more than 400 pieces of folk art to the Art Museum of Southeast Texas. And I think this was a great decision because the museum, also known as AMSET, has been doing a wonderful job to display and promote John's collection. Right now, and until March 12, 2023, AMSET has on display an exhibition of one of the best Mexican folk artists, Carlomagno Pedro Martinez. Carlomagno is a Oaxacan artist from San Bartolo, Coyotepec, a town near Oaxaca, where black clay pottery is crafted at many family workshops. Since he was a toddler at the very young age of 4, Carlomagno learned the craft from his mother, Glafira Martinez, and his father, Antonio Eleazar Pedro Carreño. In time, Carlomagno developed a very unique style, with death as a constant within the context of pre-Columbian cultures, especially his own, the Zapotec. Let me show you a piece I curated for John from Carlomagno's atelier in Oaxaca. It is a piece that completely blew my mind. It mesmerized me the very moment I saw it because of its deep symbolism. It has to do with the very origins of ceramics in Mesoamerica, hence the origins of ceramics in the indigenous cultures as we know them. So let me show it and let me share with you a brief interview I made to Carlomagno where he speaks about this wonderful, wonderful piece.
Sí, bueno, la mazorca regularmente la gente se queda sorprendida porque tiene el elemento de las calaveritas, pero es un símbolo prehispánico donde nosotros vemos la muerte no como la muerte que acaba, sino es la renovación de la vida. En el concepto que yo manejo de esta mazorca es el símbolo de que nosotros los mexicanos somos la cultura del maíz y no es como la mazorca que maneja Francisco Toledo, que es la mazorca transgénica. Esta es la muerte que da vida. Se puede decir que es el ciclo de la vida de la mazorca. Nacemos, crecemos, nos reproducimos, morimos y volvimos otra vez. Por eso es lo que yo meto aquí el concepto de la muerte.
We can see how important it is, the indigenous legacy in Carlomagno's work, as it is in Toledo, in Francisco Toledo's work. Carlomagno states a difference between his work and Toledo, but this other enormous artist is also very concerned about corn and its importance. That's why he did a protest against transgenic corn. This enormous artist, Francisco Toledo, who passed away a few years ago. And what Carlomagno and Toledo have in common is their deep connection with indigenous legends, myths, and indigenous art itself, mostly the Zapotec indigenous culture. So I'd like to add a few things about this piece if you allow me. First, we can see these skulls stacked on one on top of the other. And this arrangement has to do with pre-Columbian zompantlis. Zompantlis were racks of skulls displayed for religious and political purposes amongst different pre-Columbian cultures. Here we can see a zompantli at Calixtlahuaca in the state of Mexico. Then we can see another one in Chichen Itza, Yucatan. And of course, there were also some pantlis made of skulls, of real skulls from human beings. There's been a recent discovery in Mexico City and Guatemala, Guatemala Street in downtown Mexico City. That is the way zompantli. The main zompantli has been discovered recently. So skulls and death had a very deep meaning in pre-Columbian world and pre-Columbian cultures. Human sacrifices had place to preserve life. That was their religious purpose. Duality was always present in the pre-Columbian cultures, day and night, life and death, sowing and cropping, etc. To preserve this balance, sacrifices were performed to honor the many deities they had, so death was seen as a part of a continuous cosmogonic process. So, as duality is present in pre-Columbian indigenous cultures, we can see duality present in this piece. We have death in these skulls representing kernels, and we also have life in the corn husk and in the silks, that is these threads that come out of this corn cob. And if we see this piece metaphorically, we can think of Mictlan, the realm of the death, as this zompantli where these skulls, the kernels are, and then the silk comes out to life, to the realm of the living, to life. So we have this duality present, as Carlomagno says. It has to do with life and death. Carlomagno says, nosotros los mexicanos somos la cultura del maíz. We Mexicans are the culture of the corn. And this is very meaningful considering Carlomagno's means of expression, which is ceramics, because corn has to do with the very origins of ceramics in Mesoamerica. And this is because before the establishment of Mesoamerica and indigenous cultures as we know them today, there was no ceramics and there was no established cultures. There were just nomad people scattered across Mesoamerica that collected and hunted. But once they discovered agriculture, then these people established and then main cultures emerged. And the main crop within across Mesoamerica was corn. And corn is not any crop. Corn is as important as wheat is for Europeans or rice is for Asians. So corn is a major crop for Latin Americans and before now for Mesoamerican people. We must not diminish Mesoamerican cultures for their cosmology or their religious way to explain the unknown. They had enormous scientific discoveries, astronomical, mathematical, and of course agricultural. Corn is a great example of this because corn was not edible in the beginning. It was domesticated from the teosinte plant, and the first corn cobs had very few kernels compared to the cobs that indigenous cultures developed. Once the originary cultures were established, thanks to the agriculture and thanks to the corn, then ceramics developed. So this piece, being made of clay, is a very powerful symbol of the origin of ceramics. I'd like to add a more personal interpretation about this piece. John Gaston Fairey, the creator of this collection, devoted his life to conservationism and to gardening and to preserve endemic plants. He traveled to Mexico to locate plants and seeds, and that way he could preserve these plants. He even led the research for Harvard University in order to find the Taxol plant, which is used for the treatment of cancer. And he successfully found this plant, and now this plant is cultivated. And what touches my heart about this piece is this link between John's work and the importance that agriculture had for pre-Columbian people, and the spiritual connection they had with corn. As Carlomagno says, there is a continuity of life and death. Death can be transcended somehow. John passed away in March 2020. And I like to think that his way to transcend life is through his legacy. His legacy of conservationism, through his garden in Hempstead, Texas, the former Peckerwood Garden, now the John Gaston Fairey Garden, and through his legacy in folk art, through his collection at the Art Museum of Southeast Texas in Beaumont, Texas. So if you can, please do visit these wonderful places. And if you're in Monterey, please visit Carapan. I'll be more than happy to have you. Thank you very much.